Boom, and we are live here at the station of decapitation without your head. I'm Nasty Neal. I'm joined by the fine folks of Creature Fear, which I saw at Buried Alive Film Festival. We have director Manny
Hey, how's it going?
Manny Gumina. Is
Great to
that how you
be
say
here.
last name? I should have asked before we went live.
Yeah, Gumina is good.
All right. We've got Charlie, Billy Chengary.
Thanks for having us, Neal. Also,
Yeah.
Chengary. I don't want to be that guy,
Chengary.
but
All right.
Chengary. Yeah, thank
If
you
I was
for.
professional, I would have asked before we went live instead of just
Don't worry about it.
winging it here. And Paul, Jarrod Langwinski.
Got it.
All right. 1 for 3. And before we start, this is pretty wild here. Thank you, Jay Wolfenstein. Sent $100. Hey, thank you very much. Help support the channel. Asking shall receive, friend, for speaking the absolute truth. All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate that very much. All right. So for people not aware yet, can you give them an idea of what Creature Fear is about?
Yeah, I'll take this one, guys. So I wrote and directed Creature Fear, and it's basically about a Chicago musician who travels to a lake town in Wisconsin and to record an album with a local musician there, and he's quickly hounded by a starving felon in search of a job and possibly something more due to some eco horror stuff. So it's I came up with this idea during like COVID-19 lockdowns when my family was quarantining at a lake house up there, and we were walking on a road, and there was like, as everyone was during that time, it was so crazy. It's like all you could do was just like walk on public streets to get out of your house. And there was at the time in that county, there were 0 cases of COVID. So locals weren't too into people coming into the county from counties where COVID cases were very high. So, we're walking and there's a guy in a huge diesel pickup truck just like skids to a stop next to us, rolls down his window and just yells, "Go home," as loud as he can, and then just skids away. And it sort of like gave me this idea of like, there is such a dichotomy between the economic circumstances, the lifestyle circumstances of people who travel to lake homes from like the city, whether it's in Wisconsin, it's like either Chicago or Milwaukee or Madison, and then the locals who like live there year round. So I that idea just stuck with me for so long. And I just kept writing script after script with like those locations in mind, and eventually landed on Creature Fear. Then we went into production in 2024, and now we're on the podcast, having had our world premiere.
Well, I live on the Cape Cod, and it's very much the people live here year round. It's kind of very small, and then the summertime, it's where when all the tourists come in. And a lot of the business even only open during those seasons because, that's the big tourist season. But I remember when I went to New York in the Catskills, and the hotel we stayed at, it was weird because it was, I don't want to say like wrong term, but it was like very rural people who like, I don't think there's like a school there or anything. And and then these hotels, and it was a very weird like feeling to be there. And you could tell like they weren't like really into like regular people, but people from out of the state coming in. It was just a strange feeling.
Yeah. It's for like I love Jaws, right? Like, I think Jaws is
I live near where it was filmed.
Okay, yeah. You said Cape Cod, and I feel like that has a little bit of similar themes with like the locals versus like Brody being from the city or whatever.
Right.
So, well, cool.
So
what's interesting about this, and I'll bring Billy and Jarrod into this as well. Like, Jarrod grew up in Wisconsin. Billy's like from Illinois. So like, I feel like they're like characters kind of, in some ways are like how they grew up in a way, but definitely different people. Like if you meet Jarrod and Billy in real life, they're like completely different, but they might like know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about locals versus city people, right? So
Yeah, so along those lines, Billy is very much the guy coming in. Jared's the guy who lives there, and but Billy's not like presented as a villain in the movie. You're probably the most innocent guy in the movie, your character.
We definitely talked about that. I think, Manny, like we were like, we don't. He's probably the only good person out of the bunch, despite him needing to learn some tough lessons throughout the film. Yeah, he definitely had like he just wants closeness with people. Like he wants intimacy. He wants real connection, which is something that is explored for. I forget that like people haven't seen the movie, so I'm like filtering like what can I say? What can I say?
Right.
But yeah, like his journey is like he just wants he wants to get away from it all. He wants to go to the places that are isolated to kind of find himself and find connection. And he does take potentially a wrong turn, perhaps.
And before I get to Jarrod, when you're writing it, Manny, like the idea of like who's the villain, who's the hero, because everyone's pretty flawed in the movie.
Mhm.
And was there any like party like I don't want to make like any of the locals the villain, or like
Yeah,
any thought like processor?
yeah. What did I watch right before going on set? Oh my gosh. There's a specific movie that I watched that is sort of like similar setup where it's like somebody from city coming to a rural place, and oh man, what is the name of that movie? Anyways, it's pretty classic from like the 70s. And I just really didn't like how the locals were portrayed. Like it's
Straw
usually
Dogs or something.
yeah, there's like some sort of like deformity. Straw Dogs is more in the vein of what I'm thinking about with this one, right? Where it sort of spirals into a nightmare with that one. And I was definitely going for that rather than like, you just see like deformity put on screen, or like even Jason in Friday the 13th. I wasn't really going for that, right? Where it's like, oh, he like drowned and he's supernatural.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like Deliverance or
yeah. Deliverance does that similarly. Paul has issues, but I wanted his issues to come across first and foremost as like economic issues, rather than anything wrong with him. From a, I don't know, just like from a cliche perspective.
And there's also a lot of good qualities about Jarrod. Like, I don't want to give away the movie, but he's a pretty big victim in lots of ways, and try to do the right thing.
Yeah. I liked it as like like writing this was really fun because it was like, okay, these are all flawed characters, but they all have decisions that make sense in their own heads as they're going through the story, right? But the thing that I always kept coming back to is like, there's the social aspect of like, none of these people should be hanging out ever. I just kept thinking about that as I was writing, like how can we make them like not connect at all, so that like in every scene you can see there's like this like they just like can't get on the same page. All of them, they can't get on the same page, and I just really liked that as like from like a subtext of a horror movie. I really like movies that do that like present social anxiety that way, where it's like awkward, because it adds to the tension in my way.
Going off of that, I think it's fun too that there are multiple scenes where it seems like two of the characters might be connecting in a way, and then the third character kind of inadvertently or on purpose messes that up, and it's just like the pieces never quite fit. As soon as you get like two of them to lock in, the other one breaks them apart, and that's always just like a really fun dynamic to play through as well. It's such a character driven piece, and that's just really enjoyable to work with as an actor. And it's not just like a slasher, you are introduced to your victims. It's like, okay, they're going to get killed and you got your killer, and but it's a little bit it's a little bit more dynamic in a sense that you don't necessarily want any of these people to get killed, but it's like, that somebody's got to die.
Right.
And so it's tricky.
Well, it's also, you said not like a slasher, because I think that's also important, because then you actually care about all the characters. So when anything happens to anybody, it's a bigger deal. As opposed to, I'm looking for a fun kill or something.
I think a way to just like boil down what we're talking about here is I like characters rather than caricatures, and that's basically it. Yeah.
Now, Billy, had you ever worked with Manny before? I know this is Manny's first feature film, but he's done some shorts. So did you know him at all before this?
No, he posted an ad on Backstage, which is like an actor filmmaker database, or they also do like theater as well. And I saw it and I really liked what was being said and how things were articulated. And on a whim, I sent a tape in, and then I got a call from him, and he's like, just so you know, this is not going to be an easy film. And I was like, try me. And then sure enough, we're going 6 hours north into the middle of nowhere during a tundra to make this movie happen. So it was a first experience. I definitely respect the man for making the movie. It's not an easy feat, and I would happily continue working with Manny. He's awesome.
And Manny, what made Billy like right for the role?
Yeah, Manny.
So like you said, we did the Backstage ad, and I got a bigger response than I thought we would get, being a first time feature director, and I haven't really been in the film industry at all. I did a couple of small shorts that were super local, but we ended up getting a ton of great auditions. But the thing about Billy was like, you seemed like the most professional and up to the task. Like there was what was really important to me is what you said, right? Where I tried to lay out expectations as best as I could, where, this is going to be hard. Like, this is going to be very hard. We're going to, like you said, 6 hours into the middle of nowhere, down a back road, 15 minutes. And there's no cell phone service. There's no running water. And we're going to be out there basically all night. That it was a couple days on this shoot, and then we're also just going to be living where we're shooting. Like there was, I couldn't afford to put everyone in a hotel. I could afford to put some people in a hotel. And I think just like all that with Billy, he was just like game for it all. Like you said, you use the word articulate, and you did articulate it in a way where I like could hear the honesty and the trust in your voice. After I did all the self tapes, like, I had a phone call with like the final candidates based on the lines that they read. And I think the phone call gave me everything I needed to know. Cause I think this shoot was as much about the creative as it was about just like the endurance of it too. So I was thinking as a producer, assistant director, and director at the same time, and I think it was a benefit. I think we had a great shoot.
Jarrod, same like idea. Was it Backstage? How did you get involved? And what interested you in the character? Because it seems much different than you.
Yeah. Backstage as well. What drew me to the film itself, kind of almost the inverse of what Manny is saying as far as like how professional Billy was, how professional Manny was in the posting. Like the descriptions were just so clear and nuanced of like, here are your character descriptions. It's not giving anything away, but you could tell that these are nuanced people. The story was really intriguing. There was an aspect, like I don't live in Wisconsin anymore, but I loved the idea of kind of entering into Wisconsin culture in that way, and all these other factors. And so those aspects of the story are kind of what enticed me the most. But kind of what you're saying about how Paul is a very different person. I initially auditioned for a different character, and during my callback, Manny actually wanted me to read for Paul. And at first, I thought that was kind of like, I thought I was kind of a lost cause at that point, because I was like, this is a cool looking character, but I don't think I'm going to, have the traits he's looking for, or whatever that is. And so I kind of, I still gave it my best shot, and it all worked out. And in the grand scheme of things, I'm incredibly thankful that that's where I ended up playing Paul instead, because it was, a great challenge. It pushed me in different ways. It forced me to learn a lot of things very quickly. And it really invigorated me as an artist to kind of put myself where I need to be for that.
And so, since Jarrod, tried out for a different role, what was it about him that you were like, oh, I think he could be Paul?
I saw that he was a great actor first and foremost from like the first audition, and then there was something about like you have I love faces, right? And I think Jarrod had this face that I think could transform into someone that could be frightening. And Jarrod is like just not that person in real life. So but I just saw like what you were doing with your eyes and things like that in the self-tape, where I was like, okay, this guy could really push himself to be far different than he is in real life, and more of this. I don't know. Do you agree with that, Jarrod, in a way?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what you said to me at one point. It was like something about like, oh yeah, it's like a certain type of thing, like like it's like a Steve Buscemi kind of like facial, where it's like, and I had to like I had to work through that a little bit, but I was like, I was like,
Hey.
no, that is cool. I'd much rather. I love doing different things. The last thing I ever want is to be typecast. And so anytime I get to do something weird or different or exciting, I'm glad I fall into that thought for people.
Right. Yeah. You have a character actor thing going on where I feel like you could play a lot of different roles, but I think, and we've talked about this. It's crazy. Like Jarrod now recently just keeps getting cast as villains. I know you can do more because I saw what you did in the other thing, and I didn't mean to do that to you. So Jarrod is just a great actor, and he comes to the set so prepared. Honestly, all the actors did, but I just like talking with Jarrod through his process. I hosted a little podcast for like all of our casting crew for this feature, just to like as a behind the scenes content thing. And we just talked about like, what did you do to prepare? And like Jarrod did all these things that like I was not expecting actors to do coming onto the set. I said, hey, please be prepared. We're not going to have a ton of time. But like when you're getting down to like, I'm going to move my eyebrow this way at this moment of this scene, and knowing exactly like what page that's on and what line of the script it's on, like it's incredible. Like I was just like, and you guys are just such professionals. I'm worrying about my own stuff. So like to like have actors come that prepared for you, it speaks volumes to who they are as people, and then just how much they brought to this film, and then just like how grateful I am that I chose you guys to be on it. So
you said you guys like stayed where you were filming, so did you like stay in the house? Like
yeah.
Okay.
So a lot of us stayed in the lake house, and then Paul's compound is sort of like 3 hours north of that location. So we rented an Airbnb that we all stayed at for that one, which was pretty funny. It was like very fitting for the movie that we were making. There were just like deer taxidermy, like all like so much deer taxidermy all over.
Every wall in the living room is just heads of deer and one bear.
And one bear, yeah. but yeah, and so for like, you know, Billy was talking about the tundra, like, you know, we wrapped shooting at a road at the first location, which was like the lake house place, and then we had to travel 3 hours north, like sort of in the evening, and it had been raining like in the late afternoon, and then it started getting cold, and that turned to snow, so it was like ice underneath and then snow on top, and we drove through that. We you know, there's some stories that I should probably not tell on mic, but we all made it to the Airbnb, and we were all just like happy to be there. But the next day we couldn't shoot because we couldn't get back to the location because of that thing. So, you know, there were tears and everything, but we, you know, I was able to raise a little bit more money, and we were able to shoot that weekend, I think it was like 2 weeks later or something like that. So, went back and stayed at that same Airbnb. But, yeah. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, no, and just personally, my first feature film, we all stayed together. We rented a cabin, and it's a really bonding experience too when everyone's there. And we were in an area like you couldn't get delivery, so we had a lot to cook, and you know, you live there for over a week, and it's something you remember, and everyone becomes, you know, pretty close friends.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's when you look back, how we came out with a movie is honestly shocking. The amount of elements and obstacles that we had to face, like to the point where we were like the last shot of the movie, we were barely trying to get it because of storms and generators. It was just insane, the amount of obstacles, and the fact that we were able to pull out this movie, I think just goes to show you, like, when it comes to independent filmmaking, it is fueled on passion. Like, you know, it's not a livable wage. We know that, you know, we come together to like really put our hearts into something that is worth telling. And I think that translates with any good movie. Like it was, again, the elements, the weather, but we still showed up. The crew we're all champions. Without any of them, the film potentially could not have been made. And that's why I love like working with independent films like this, because, you know, there's a lot of heart, and it just keeps us all motivated. Like, well, if they can do it, then why can't I do it? And we just really helped each other, you know, get through it, make a movie. And now, yeah, we're bonded and we're all very close because of it.
Mm-hmm.
It was I was just say, even though it's a, you know, you say low budget independent film, it has really high production value. It looks really good. Like it's filmed really well, and the audio is really good, which I think is something that can take away from a movie or elevate a movie if the audio is really good. It's like, oh, this is a professionally shot movie.
Yeah, thank you for that. That's high praise. There's a lot of amazing craftspeople that worked on this movie. Again, surprised by that. Not just the acting, but like the people behind the scenes who, you know, brought their best and made sure we got what we needed, sound wise, you know, camera wise, everything. People really put their best into this movie, and I, like you said, not living wages and all that stuff. It is fueled by passion, and I think. But
everyone knew that going in. Like we didn't need to do the project, but we all knew that, and we knew it was just a fun thing we wanted to do, and that's why the people showed up, and that's why we have the movie we have. Because if there was any other circumstance, people probably could have walked off. They're like, I don't need this. Like,
right.
Whatever. Yeah.
Have you seen the finished movie, Billy? I know you weren't at the.
I saw a rough cut a while back. It wasn't really a rough cut. It was a finished product, and I loved it. To sit through and watch it from front to back, I have not. I was just talking to Jimmy, who plays my roommate, literally 5 minutes before this. We still are very close. Go figure. And he's like, I want a copy of the movie because he couldn't make it to Atlanta either. He's like, I need to ask Manny to get a link. So Manny, if you want to send it our way, we can definitely watch
I didn't know
it.
all the cast and crew didn't have a link yet. Man,
definitely
I
watch
didn't know
it.
all the cast and crew didn't have a link yet. Man, I will definitely.
No, it's okay. I don't mind it at all. I was waiting to see it in theaters. I think that's just super special. Your first chance getting to see it was like in front of an audience. I'm waiting for that. Hopefully we get to have another opportunity like that soon.
Yeah, I hope you do, because seeing it at the Plaza in the L'Enfant was amazing. You know that
I was on
incredible.
set of another movie, and I was showing off that Creature Fear was next to Begonia on the marquee. I was like, "Look at that movie!" Like, it was very cool to flex like that. It was awesome.
Yeah, I love when that happens on the marquee.
Yeah, in Atlanta it was Begonia and Frankenstein, so it was it was good. It was good company. So Jarrod, you were in Atlanta. What was it like, to see your movie, obviously on the big screen, but with an audience?
Yeah, I mean, I once again, kind of as they're saying, the theater was beautiful. Like, I mean, it had such a great atmosphere to it. It was like classical, but it also felt very fitting for a horror movie, just with the lighting and everything. And as far as like seeing on the big screen goes, it's so nice because there could actually be moments where I'm sitting watching this movie, forgetting that like I'm a part of this for a moment. It's just like, oh yeah, I'm just like, I had moments where I was like, oh, I'm just watching a movie at like a, like a feature film on the big screen, and then I would kind of snap back here and there and be like, oh yeah, this is what we all worked our ass off for. So that was a really great experience. And anytime you can get any kind of audience, reaction or feedback, or just like kind of, what audiences even subtly react to, or just like where like breaths get quiet versus, when people are a little bit more like, I think there are really great elements you can only get in a live space. And so I'm really glad that I had this opportunity, before it goes wherever it goes. So yeah, I mean, trip was well worth it. Atlanta is a wonderful, I really like the space. And yeah,
it was my first time at the Plaza Theater, and that place was great. It's got has a real charm to it, and like you could tell that the people who run it like love movies, because it's all decked out in the posters, and I love those kind of theaters because once they're gone, like they don't come back. So I'm happy that it's around, and I have a couple similar theaters in Boston.
Yeah, and oh my god, the inside! Oh, knocked over the inside is incredible too, just like you said, with all the posters of not just horror movies but all sorts of great movies, including some of my cult classic favorites, and then there was like this like arcade in there that was really cool. There's just like a lot of great elements about that space that just made it a very lively place. There's a photo booth in there that was like very vintage, and there was just like all sorts of fun stuff in there, and it was a really great atmosphere. And you're in there with so many people who are excited to see what they're seeing because they're involved in some way, shape, or form, most likely. And so there was just like a lot of positive energy, a lot of optimism, it was just really easy to talk to people. So I mean, those are all outside of kind of the question of what was it like seeing the film, but I think the atmosphere really.
Yeah, that was going to go next, though, is the idea of playing a festival. Like, what's the importance of that? And Manny, I know you've done shorts. Did you play those at festivals, or was this your first festival experience?
No, I would say those shorts. I didn't necessarily like finish them. Like, okay. I was editing myself, and I didn't go through like a whole color grade process, or even with a sound designer or any of that. I was kind of doing everything on my own, and trying to adjust trying to fake being an audio engineer is like not an easy job. So I respect everyone who does those crafts, and I think like, yeah, those movies were just like missing a lot of elements that like festivals need to get programmed. So this was literally my first festival experience, and it was everything I could have asked for, to be able to play in that theater to strangers. Like I've obviously like watched this movie like a million times on my own on a laptop or on my TV screen. And, you know, we had like one friends and family screening, but you're not getting like the true audience reaction from that. You know, people are picking up on elements like there's just so many people that recognize the locations at that friends and family screening. So then they're just like guffawing at the locations that are on the screen rather than like the subtle elements that come out on the big screen, like the way an actor's head will tilt or react to a certain line. And you can hear it in the audience. And there's that was just like the best part of this was just like, oh, they're laughing where I wanted them to laugh. They're like, you know, screaming out when I want them to scream out. You know, it was like not the whole audience. We had a small but mighty audience there, but like, you know, just like it's so gratifying when it's the intention is coming out in practice. So,
yeah, and after being there, maybe it's too early yet, but what do you think the importance of being at a festival? Not just seeing the movie, but the interaction with people.
Well, being my first experience, I don't know if I'm like the best to speak to this because it still feels like surreal in a way to have screened somewhere, and we hope to screen in more places. So maybe I can defer to Billy. He's had more movies run the festival circuit. Like, what do you think the importance of it is?
Well, I was just assistant directing a shoot, and about 70% of our crew were people we met at film festivals. So as a filmmaker, it's very easy to network when you have a product. Like when you're an actor going to film festivals but like aren't in anything and are trying to network, or you're a filmmaker but haven't made anything, it's kind of challenging to like, I swear I make movies, but when you make something you're proud of, it's very easy to build your team. I have really good advice. It's like, don't get on the Scorsese or Quentin Tarantino trains. They've left the station. Get on the ones now. So you're meeting all of these trains at the station that are waiting to take off. And it's really awesome because you see work that you like, and you're comfortable to network and say, hey, I like your movie. I make movies. Check out my movie. Let's work together. And like, there's again, these film festivals bring a lot of heart. People love movies. People love making movies. You're going to get the best of the best at film festivals. And it's just really great to see your work shown. And like, again, like you said, a true audience reaction, like that is always rewarding. It's scary, but it's always great when you have like the people stop eating their popcorn because they're so like, you hear the rappers stop and there's just silence. That's when you know you've won. Someone told me that at a festival, it's like, that's when you know your movie was good because everyone stopped when they needed to stop and they were invested. So that's really gratifying. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So now that you've said that, I do have more of an answer. Like with this one, I wasn't able to stay for the whole time. I had a wedding on Saturday that I had to get back to. So I wasn't able to see a lot of the films, but I reached out to those filmmakers who were playing on Saturday or the ones that I missed. And I asked if you want to do a link exchange, and then, always the thing is like, sure, but please don't share, but watching some of these movies, I'm like, oh, it gives you like I don't know, it gives you like a barometer or whatever, like, oh, because this is my first time doing this. I have no idea how good or bad it is. Right. But like when you compare it to some of these other amazing filmmakers that are at this film festival, you start to see like what elements everybody and all of our movies are so different, but there's definitely like a level of craft with each one, or there's like a shtick that stands out. There's always something that stands out, and I think like having that open forum to be able to see the trains before they leave the station is super amazing to get in at that ground level at some of these. Like this is where you see films for the first time, right? Whether it's like the huge Hollywood level, whether like, like a Telluride Film Festival, or whether it's, more of a mid-level, like what we were at Buried Alive. So, yeah, it's really cool to be able to see films before they're like released to the public, Yeah.
And I really like the mid-level festivals because there's a real community feel there. You could tell like people come there every year, and everyone's like really supportive of everybody, and then there's new people coming in and out. It was I had a great time at the festival.
Yeah.
Jay Wolfenstein, Manny, Jarrod, and Billy, congrats on the movie. Looking forward to seeing it.
Thanks, Jay.
Thanks, Jay.
Let's see here. Troy says also he can't wait to see it.
Awesome.
And Jay, what's everyone's main influence as filmmakers? Well, also add in actors. What was your main go-to inspiration for this project?
Do you guys want to
we'll start with Jarrod here.
Yeah.
Sure. Gosh. I mean, when it comes to filmmaker, like director kind of aspects, it's like I don't follow directors to a T in the sense of like, oh, I'm a really big on this director and I see all that. Like when I see something I like it kind of a thing. But as far as influences as an actor, I feel like I'm always getting impressed by different people. And I know that's kind of a generic answer, but I don't have like a go-to, this is my favorite actor, I watch everything they're in, or, anything like that. I really love projects that have, how do I put this? That just have atmosphere or feeling to them that just makes you think of something you didn't think of before, as as simple as that is. Just stuff that affects you. I mean, of course I also love sometimes just simple cheesy comedy, or an action flick here and there, or slashers and everything. I'm not necessarily like drawn to a specific thing. I really like variety. As far as like the character itself of Paul, I had a lot of influences and inspirations for that. I watched a lot of northern Wisconsin dash cam footage of a lot of various stages of drunk individuals, not just to work on the accent and the physicality, but kind of getting into a mindset of how do I think these people got to where they were, right? And so it's like mixing all of that with the great script work and character relations and everything. And then even just for like random lines or intentions or, looks, there are just, I grab so many pieces from so many different things and kind of just make a new person. Cause ultimately like who we are as people, we're influenced by so many people growing up, in all these little tiny ways. And so there's like, for example, like there's a line where I was very inspired by this specific interview from the 1990s with Roddy Piper, WWF wrestler. Like there are just all sorts of little bits and pieces of things that kind of influence what I'm doing. And so it's hard for me to, I guess, be specific, unfortunately.
What's the line? What's the line for that one? You had the script memorized at one point, but
I know, right? And now it's like I haven't looked at this script.
Oh,
big Piper fan here. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah. I can tell you what it was. It was Roddy Piper. It was an interview with Bill Meyer, I think, or it was like this whole thing, and like he was like giving the wrestlers shit the whole interview about it like not being real and all that, and Roddy Piper just had like such this
Bill Maher, maybe like from
from and he like Roddy Piper was like
politically
so
incorrect,
quick.
I think.
Yeah, he was like so quick on his responses, and there was this one thing where he was like, oh, you think this is fake, like I've got a metal hip right here, and he like slightly pulled down his pants to show him whatever, and Bill Meyer like made a joke about it, and he's like, well, I don't pull my pants down in front of other people, and Roddy Piper like instantly was just like, well, and how'd you get the job? Like he was just like so like condescending, but like so confident, and like there was just like these elements that were just like really, just like little bits like that of just like all sorts of things that, and I don't remember what the Paul line was in particular, but there is like just little bits here and there throughout the film, where it's just all these kinds of influences. Question got a little off
That's
track,
all right. No, that's
but
fine.
the short answer is I don't have like a specific answer, but I find enjoyment out of a lot of things. I'll just say that.
Billy.
Tough to follow. I mean, you have like a kaleidoscope approach, which is cool. I think for an influencing, what influences me as a filmmaker, whenever I see something out of the ordinary in my life, I'm like, my brain says, how can I make this into a movie? And I just expand the world. Like if anything, like my attention goes to it. It's clearly something is happening. So define that and then expand on it. And it's just something I just do every day. Like it's just how I think. It is fun. You have a lot of ideas, and I do think the ones that stick will keep popping up back into your head until you make it, and then you have room to make up like new thoughts and things. But there's some movies that have spawned from just things that happen in my day to day. And then regarding Charlie, my character, I think my always approach is I try to parallel my own life with my characters, because the driving force to make it have even more heart is to find things in my own life that I can put into the film, like what each character represents to Charlie, and like how does that relate to my own personal life? What is the parts of Charlie that you can relate to the things that I'm going through, I guess, to some degree. And thankfully we have like a veil of like characters that allow us to mask those things. So Charlie's going through something that's more on the screen, whereas I'm going through something that I'm working through, and I think that's what for me makes a more grounded real role, and it feels alive, I guess, for me. So I guess my own personal life influences me.
Yeah. For me, I'm influenced by movies mostly. I think like I told the story at the beginning of like where the genesis for this came from, but it is interesting how things evolve though. Like I talked about like the eco horror part of this, and that was literally an insight that happened on set. And it was just like all we had to do was put two and two together from where this character starts to where he ends, and like, oh, like that is the cause, right? And it's ingesting diseased venison, right? And it's so interesting because it was Rory who our gaffer, who we were taking a drive, and he's like, does Paul have prions? And I was like, I've literally never thought about that before until right now, and that makes so much sense. So honestly, he should get story credit. I'm shouting him out here for that purpose, but it is so interesting. I had it as more of like an economic motivation to begin with, but like I think there is like a very scary element here where I've been going up to these Northwoods hunting since I was a kid, and you can just see like the landscape changing over like a couple of decades of going up there. And then we keep getting emails like from the DNR over and over again, like get your deer tested for CWD, get your deer tested. And even my one hunting experience where I actually shot a deer, the deer acted extremely weird before I shot it. So I like there's just like all of those personal elements that are going into this story from an influence perspective. But then just from a movie perspective, it depends on what element you're looking at, but like I was very influenced by the ability to shoot a 5-star indie movie that is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre on like that budget. Like I just was thinking like, how can I make my own Texas Chainsaw Massacre with like limited locations, same amount of frightening elements going on without having to like punish you with like super special effects. Mm-hmm. I also thought about like The Night of the Hunter, Raw, the Julia Decarnu movie from France. A Star is Born, obviously, with all the musical elements and like trying to make it as a star. Fargo, just because of the setting and like the accents and things like that. Blue Rune as another like fumbling revenge story where nobody really knows how to fight, and there's like violence on screen that feels awkward. And then just I think like Ari Aster's movies from like the social anxiety perspective, Midsommar and Hereditary in particular, and then just like the sound design element with those movies as well. I was really trying to lean into, because the first time I watched Hereditary, I had like this, I feel like my like body was like locked into the chair and like I could not move. And I think it was all because of the sound design, the amount of tension that movie brings from like a scene to scene basis and like the build. And we were really trying to do the same thing with this movie from a sound design perspective.
I like that you have a lot of different stuff there, not just different types of movies, but you got older horror movies like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and modern stuff. Because sometimes I have there's horror people who say there's nothing good like new. It's all they're obsessed with like 70s and 80s horror movies. But I think there's like the last 20 years has been like a great time for horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think I think one of the first horror movies I ever saw was Saw, and that also wrecked me. I was like, I think I was probably like 10, and my older cousins were watching it, and like I just kept looking away from the screen like this, and eventually I just like watched him, saw off his own foot,
Yeah.
And it was just like, it just stuck with me forever. Like that's horror, and yeah, so I think all of that stuff is kind of like boiling in like a kaleidoscope in this movie. So,
Jarrod, are you a horror movie fan?
Yeah, and not as much as I think a lot of the other people involved. But I definitely have my favorites that I come back to on a year basis and things like that. I will say too that getting the opportunity to do so much horror the past year has really like broadened my appreciation for the genre and my interest and everything. Just because like kind of like I was saying, there's just so many. I like pretty much every genre of film, and I would love to do every genre of film truly. And so it definitely greatly heightened my appreciation for horror, being a part of this and being a part of the community and seeing how passionate people are and how much love there is in the genre and just how many great elements there are, both, not just on acting, directing, cinematography, sound, all the great prop work that gets done. It is a really hands-on art form that is I think one of those things that even in the age of digital effects and all these other things, you really can't beat the hand craftsmanship and the love that goes behind it when making horror. And fortunately we had such great people on the design elements as well. I mean, I know Hannah, for instance, with all of the bodies and making casts of herself to be mutilated in some shape or form. It was just so enriching to be a part of that experience.
What
Also,
are some
mind
of your
you,
go on, sorry, man.
I was going to say the fun fact of the shoot, because we were at that Airbnb, a lot of the practical, it was huge. A lot of the props were just scattered throughout where we would sleep. So you would be walking around and then you just see just a dead person, and it would definitely wake you up for sure. If like you were walking in the middle of the night, you just find a full-sized human replica. It was daunting and scary.
Yeah, hopefully it was a replica.
Yeah.
There was
Jarrod,
there was that like walk-in freezer there.
Oh yeah.
That's right. I don't know.
That was attached to a bar. It was attached to a bar. Like they would open up the freezer where they would cut up deer, like it was like a cocktail bar. It's very strange.
Cocktail bar and mutilated deer. All right.
Yeah.
And Jarrod, what were some of those horror movies that you revisit? Your favorites?
Sure. Well, as I guess I'll start with recent and go backwards a little. Midsommar, obviously, like psychological based stuff. I mean, I also really liked, Shutter Island, Get Out, all sorts of things like that. Moving further back, the original Saw, and a couple of the later ones. And then kind of moving back further, the original Halloween is probably my favorite. I'm so much more of like an atmosphere person, because then it's like when we do get to the kills, they just mean so much more.
Yeah, and there's really like very little blood in that movie. Maybe no blood.
Yeah,
but people think it's very gory.
Right, and even stuff that's like adjacent to the genre, like I'm a really big fan of Gremlins. It's got it has all the elements and heart, I guess, of the genre, even if maybe it's not necessarily always considered part of it. Or
I think it is. I think it's a scarier movie than people think, because it's technically like people think of as a kids movie, but it's a pretty scary movie, and there's a lot of deaths and stuff.
Yeah, so I would say as far as like ones I go back to every year, definitely Halloween, Gremlins, the Scream movies. I do love the meta aspects of it, and a few of them in particular are just really hold up well. So yeah, and then of course, like a lot of the modern, more psychological stuff I'm always really into as well.
And Billy, are you a horror movie fan?
I do like horror. I do like it a lot. I'm also the same boat. Like, I watch Halloween every year. It's a tradition now. And Jimmy, who plays my roommate in the film, he's now attended it 2 years. We've celebrated Halloween together. And we always end the night watching Halloween. That's my go-to. I also really enjoy Carrie. I think that's an outstanding movie. I think I like just like the classics. I like, Nightmare on Elm Street. I think that's a really well-made movie. And I'm kind of like a one and done most of the time, because I don't want to revisit the feeling that it created in me. And kind of like when you see movies when you're a kid and you go back, you're like, it might not be as scary, but some of those movies I'm deathly afraid of and will not revisit. And I'm scared if I revisit, it might not be as scary. So I kind of like to hold that memory.
Yeah.
But what I like about horror is that compared to all other genres, it's ever changing. Like, horror is now like entering like a technological, like artificial intelligence world that is daunting and scary. Like, we're constantly pushing the limits. And like a lot of horror is unknown, like a big element in my opinion. So you can always find horror in anything, really. Like, you can't really do rom-coms any other way than romance. You know what I mean? Like, that's it, I guess. Whereas with horror, you can make anything into horror, really.
Mm-hmm. This was and this is and there's an interesting question, Jay. There's a lot of junk horror when making creature feature. Was there any I don't want to make that mistake kind of inspiration? But I also wanted to say that no other genre are there like big. Usually, if like as a junk, like no one's like, oh, I love to watch junky dramas, but like if there's a schlocky horror movie, it can be like a cult classic, and like people will talk about it for decades. So I personally like a lot of schlocky horror movies. That's what I like about horror. There's like I like really thought-provoking things, or schlocky, or like a big bloody movie. Depends what kind of mood I'm in.
I would push back on the thought that nobody likes watching schlocky drama, because like my mother-in-law watches a ton of Hallmark movies.
Oh, all right, fair enough.
Pretty schlocky. I've tried to watch them with her. It's not great.
It's probably not like
there's an audience, though. There's an audience.
Yeah,
there is an audience. Is my point. Yeah. For this movie in particular, it's so easy to tip over into camp, right? Especially when you're making like a micro budget indie movie. But I think like leading up to this, I like some of that too sometimes, like the junk horror or whatever. But like leading up to this, I just kept watching like classics. Like, what makes a movie a classic? What makes a movie something that people want to return to again? So I was looking at a lot of movies that are classics that people return to: Halloween, Psycho, etc. And I tried not to watch those other ones so that I wasn't influenced by that for this. You know, it's up to audience interpretation if we pull off, if it's schlocky or not. But like that, I wasn't going for that. You know?
Oh God.
Honestly, I think the best and I don't think your movie is, but I do think the best like kind of schlocky stuff wasn't intentionally done that way.
Yeah,
I think that's the charm.
Yeah,
you know, as opposed to someone intentionally trying to make like, oh, this will be like a movie you grew up with that's like kind of goofy and stuff. And you can sometimes that will work, but a lot of times you can see that, you know.
yeah.
I will say I did a movie where we very much knew what we were getting into, and it's titled Killer Pinata. We knew exactly what we were making.
Yeah.
You'll find 19-year-old Billy as I think my name's Charlie in that movie too. Weirdly enough, Scott. No, his name's Scott. I think I can't remember. But yeah, those campy movies are the best. I think back in the '80s they were just experimenting with film and kind of trying cool things that like everything ages in due time. So that's, I think they thought it was cool at one time and then it just became that way. You're absolutely right about that.
Yeah, I saw Billy. Sorry, Neal. I saw your Letterboxd review of Sinners, and you're like, "This isn't going to age well." And I can understand what you're saying with that. like Sinners could be like a little bit schlocky, but like that, all those like ending transforming elements, like it could go that direction. Like later on, when people go back and watch it, and they're just like, "What is this CGI baloney?"
Well, yeah, it is interesting because like I grew up watching Siskel and Ebert, and I'll go back and rewatch them because it's something I grew up watching in the '80s, and like there'll be like these huge movies that were up for Oscars, whatever, and I'm like, man, I either don't remember this at all, or like I remember it, but no one talks about it. And then there'll be like, you know, some weird horror basket case or something, and it'll be like, oh yeah, this is a movie all like horror fans still talk about, you know, 30, 40 years later.
Yeah, it's funny how stuff like grows in estimation or decreases in estimation over time. But
yeah, and it's like, I don't know. I love Sinners, but now you say it, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. And
yeah, I love that movie too. But your point was well taken though, Billy. Like I could now that you said, like when you said that, I was like, oh, I could maybe see that. You know,
I mean, like as long as you make a movie, like since like entering in the filmmaking world and making more films, it's so hard. So for people to like, to, criticize movies, like I try to see good in all of everything.
Yeah.
Like if you're like, until you actually make movies, you can't criticize. Like try getting a little crew to go drive 6 hours north to make a movie. And like, it's not as easy as it seems. So I always try to find good in any movie and try to respect the craft, because
especially on the independent level. I think I try never to say anything. If it's a big giant movie that costs hundreds of millions, like
critique away.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. If it's a big like corporate movie and you can tell that it was made by a focus group who's like trying to, do all the right things for all the right people, then critique away.
I love the '80s when kids movies were hardcore. Even Ghostbusters had scary moments for a 5-year-old. The Demon Dogs bring back scary moments in non-horror movies. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, like a Never-Ending Story, like that really makes you friggin' depressed when the horse dies.
Yeah, that movie made me feel weird when I was little.
Yeah, I think when you're a kid, you don't really want to watch a kid's movie. You know what I mean? Or
I think there's something too about, just any of those like Henson-esque, like dark fantasy kind of movies, like Never-Ending Story or like Labyrinth, Dark Crystal, like those kinds of things where it's just because everything is so handmade and like they put so much effort and time into crafting it, like it creates an atmosphere where, I don't know, there's kind of this element of, in the way that when like a little kid goes to see the Easter Bunny for the first time or something, where it's like, this is supposed to be a good thing, but there's something a little unnerving about it. I think those types of movies kind of create a similar effect in many ways, because they put their all into the craftsmanship. And I think some of that does get lost going into kind of the digital age, if not done really, really well, because now there's kind of this separation that you have to cross.
Yeah. And a cheap plug. I actually created my own puppet recently.
Oh,
For
that's
a movie.
awesome.
Nice.
Does it
Whoa!
does it have a name?
Master Zog. Yeah. So
Master
his whole
Zog.
he's got his whole body, his legs. I never made a puppet before. I'm very happy with him. So yeah,
That's
it's a
got to be
cheap
next
plug.
on my thing. I want to do a movie with puppets.
Yeah, so yeah, that's my next movie, Arbor Day, and
Nice.
gonna be filming in the spring. But and he's
Cool.
all hand sewn, all handmade. It was and he's more popular than me. He's booked at a festival in January, and he's going to be in a different feature film next year. I'm getting jealous of my own puppet.
Just signed with CAA.
Exactly. Let's see. I'm always a sleepaway camp. I'm a fan of sleepaway camp sequels. Silly, stupid, but hilariously great. Yeah, there's a lot of like silly horror movies that I love.
Jason Goes to Space.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jason X.
Crazy.
anytime you take, unless it's started in space, but anytime you take a franchise and you shoot them into space, I don't necessarily think it's a great idea, but I'm there for it. Yeah, I don't think we'll ever see a Creature Fear in space. I don't think that.
No.
So where does Creature Fear go from here?
Yeah, we're sort of in an in-between stage. I think we haven't been accepted to another festival yet. I have a number of submissions out there, but yeah, I hope to do like a Midwest premiere and then figure out distribution from there. But yeah, that's the goal right now. So just building up stuff like this. Thank you for having us on, Neal.
Yeah, of course. And not to get ahead of yourself, because obviously you're working on trying to get Creature Fear out there. But are you working on anything like currently, like your next film or writing anything?
Yeah. I mean, I hope that this film is a launch point to a long career for all of us involved, right? That was like definitely one of the goals here was like, how can I get everybody who worked on this on the next job off of it, and still to be seen. I think some people have booked some other stuff. Like the editor of this one booked another feature to edit off of this movie. For me personally, I think of myself as a writer first. The first thing that I wrote was a novel, and then so I just keep plugging away at scripts. Like I have a script right now that I feel really good about. It's very personal to my own domestic family life, and but yeah, with a genre element, and I want to get that one off the ground. So we'll see what happens. But yeah.
Jarrod, are you working on anything currently? Then we'll get to Billy. So.
I'm in between things right now. I just so Creature Fear was my first feature, and I just in August I wrapped another horror feature that I believe is coming out next year. That one is called Solstice. I'm not a killer in that one, which is great. But aside from that, just like mostly shorts here and there, just kind of tossing my stuff out there and doing auditions, that kind of stuff. But yeah.
And Billy.
First off, Manny, it's so casual. Like, yeah, the first thing I wrote was a novel, as if like it's what people just normally do.
Right.
I was like, okay, sure. If I can get a single script completed, that's enough. I'll pat myself on the back. I just worked on. I have a group of people. We make movies, and we just wrapped last week in Iowa. It's called Odd Duck. It's an absurdist piece, dark comedy. A girl comes home from education to find a man has weaseled his way into her family life and is trying to take over the house. So it's a film that takes place over a dinner, and I have a feature that just got released. You can rent and stream. It's called Year One. It's a coming of age story about a girl going to college, and it raises awareness to mental health and how it's okay to not have the American Pie college experience.
That movie's good.
And
by the way,
thanks.
sorry.
I appreciate it. And then I'm just again like collaborating. We have some scripts writing that we're writing. I have a few ideas that expanded into features that I'd like to potentially shoot way down the line, but you know, these are all just things that we're sifting through.
Always
Very
work.
cool.
Yeah.
And so I have to ask this here because they spent $4.99. It's got nothing to do with the show, really. Neal, this is from the grotesque bigoted hobgoblin. Neal, opinion on Shuli slut shaming Keanu Thompson. You have to admit it's gross and appalling that he would do that. I'm friends with Keanu, so yeah, I like her a lot, and I don't think slut shaming anyone's cool. I also have no problem with Shuli. I've been on his show. So yeah, I don't know. Sorry, that's not the greatest answer.
You shouldn't
but,
slut shame anybody. You shouldn't slut shame anyone.
Right, exactly. It's a very double standard thing as well. Like, you know, women get that, and for the most part, guys will not get that. It'll be more like, oh, he's cool if he has a lot of partners.
Weird thing. It's weird how society has evolved to that point.
Creature Fear takes Manhattan. There we go. You instead of space, you can go to Manhattan.
Paul Pilcrow in Manhattan is a funny.
The horror is him just navigating the streets.
Yeah.
I did have a daydream kind of going into like just for fun, a daydream of like, oh yeah, if you know, because every classic horror movie, you know, eventually jumps the shark in some way, shape, or form, and like you know, just kind of flanderizes itself. And like I was like, just for fun, like daydreaming about like how that could possibly happen for something like this. And I was imagining a world, it's like, okay, yeah, Paul's back, but he you know, he's got this gash in his head, and so he like grabs like a deer head and like wears like the deer head as like a mask and like slashes people and stuff.
I like that. I like that the sequel would be like a different subgenre of horror. It becomes a slasher.
Yeah,
movie.
like just something silly like that, because then it's like, oh yeah, now you can kind of do whatever you want. Obviously, like not being too serious, but that was kind of.
Is this a spoiler-free zone, or are we trying to refrain from spoiling?
It's up to Manny.
Manny?
I think it's a little early, right?
Yeah, I won't say. I'll talk to you about the idea that Jake, one of our grips, we had an idea tossed around about the sequel, and it's funny. I think you'll like it. It's very Grecian.
Okay, Grecian.
Like Greek tragedy. You'll see.
Yeah.
And
do you really play the guitar, Billy?
Yeah, I kind of took a break. That was really demanding. I was like, I need a break from the guitar. Kind of like when I because it was the freezing cold, and I was like, my fingers couldn't move. At one point, I was just staring at my hands, hoping I would play the song. I was like, please, dear God. But I do play. I can campfire jam like the movie. You know, I'm very similar to Charlie in that sense. So I'm like, I could play guitar, and I'll play like Maisie Star. You know, something cool.
You're great.
Hey, Dave Deadman from Canada. He's a good guy. All right. So where can people follow Creature Fear to see, you know, where it leads to, where it goes next?
Yeah. So we have a website that is pretty static, but you can read up all about the movie. It's called creaturefearfilm.com. But I mostly post updates on Instagram. So it's at Creature Fear Film on Instagram.
All right. And where can people see you, Jarrod? Where can they follow you? Not back to your house, but you know.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. Honestly, the main social media I use is Instagram, but you know, I'm kind of on and off at Reception Fades. I do have a YouTube, but most of it's private because it's mostly just auditions and stuff. But yeah, that's roughly about it for me. What about you, Billy?
I mean, I'm really bad at social media. So like, if you like, all of my stuff goes on like my IMDb. If you want to like check stuff out there. Yeah, I've like really just post random stuff on my Instagram. It's ChiliBen1. It's like ChillYBen1. Find me there. It's private. Yeah, I don't really post much, but yeah, IMDb.
And by the way, you mentioned Letterboxd and IMDb. It is important, and especially for independent film, to go especially if you're like at a festival, go in and rate these movies. preferably, you know, a good rating on, you know, on IMDb and Letterboxd. It definitely is helpful. And also for people out there who are at festivals and don't put their stuff on IMDb and Letterboxd, you really should, even shorts. Like, it's very helpful. That's how the word gets out there and people find out about it.
Yes, I should say on here too. Yeah, we Letterboxd is definitely a metric that we're looking at a lot for this movie. So please add it to your watch list. It's you just search Creature Fear in the search box and it'll pop up. And yeah, if you have watched it, please rate it. Hopefully highly. Classic line like if you don't have anything nice to say, please don't say anything at all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or
And,
you could send me a DM and I'll take it. I want criticism too, but not on the Letterboxd.
Right.
Yeah. Please.
Yeah. And I toured with my first feature film, so I do know when you do the festivals, you'll get a lot more Letterboxd reviews. Like every time you're at a new festival, like they pop up.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to see the nice ones.
Right. and so far we've had some very nice reviews. So yeah, thank you to those folks who have done that. As much as I would like to say that I'm not watching it, I am because so much myself into this.
I'm just gonna review one day and be like, "Hi, Manny," and just saying hi because I know you're reading this.
yeah. But yeah, that's I would like that. That would be cool.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate all you guys coming on. It's been fun.
Yeah. Thanks, Neal. Yeah, and it was great to meet you in person at Buried Alive.
Yeah, I had a great time. My first time there, and big thanks to Buried Alive and Shannon who runs it. I've been to lots of festivals. It's up there for one of my favorites. I do like the community feel, and the theater's wild, and everyone was super supportive there.
Yeah, it was great.
I was surprised people knew my puppet there.
It's becoming CAA. Come on.
All right, we're gonna play the trailer for Creature Fear to close us out, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks.
That's good.
Yep.
Of course, thank you.
Yep.
She served you drinks at the ski shack. You got a good thing going. You're gonna throw it all away for what?
She's talented, dude.
Some towny chick?
She wants to record an album.
Nothing good happens north of Madison.
I was hoping to talk to Miriam.
Who's that?
Local drunk.
I haven't eaten real food in 3 days.
Did you tell him where I live, Miriam? Miriam!
I'm starving.
Look, I'm not gonna watch the guy starve to death.
I grew up with Paul. He's a chronic liar.
You don't need to get involved with that shit. They're gonna turn you into furniture.
Well, this is gonna sound weird, but do you want to come in and shower?
It's a new beginning.
Looking at your skin should be
You guys are giving me a reason to live. Hop in.
What's your emergency?
But my friend, she's in there.